With Christmas around the corner, what would it take to repeat the Great Depression? My base case on the economy has been that we are repeating the 1970s stagflation, with a first bout of high inflation followed by a period of rapid GDP growth and calming inflation, you are here, that ends in a second, even worse, stagflation. One that could go on a long time, considering the last one in the 70s only ended with a brutal series of engineered recessions that cost Jimmy Carter his job. In other words, Washington won't make that mistake again. Next time, they'll probably just let it rip. All pretty dire, but there's actually another shoe to drop, an even worse outcome that, going by my commenters, a lot of people are worried about. A depression. Meaning an extended period not just of stagnation, but a dramatic plunge in our living standard. So soup kitchens, kids without shoes, former middle-class breadwinners riding trains as hobos in search of work. So it is worth asking, what would it take to get a depression? The key here is that depressions do not fall from the sky. They are not divine retribution for exploiting the proletariat. No, depressions are made in Washington. Namely, they're made of a never-ending series of government interventions that ultimately scare investors and businesses into what's called a capital strike. Meaning they freeze in place, they cut investment, they might even shut down because they don't know what the rules of the game will be. They prudently stand down and try to cut their losses. It's exactly what happened in the 1930s as FDR threw the kitchen sink of regulations mandating everything from above market wages, which forced companies to lay off workers, to political commissars deciding what price you can sell at, indeed deciding if you'll have to sell your product for a loss. All of this while FDR hiked income tax to ultimately 94%. Meaning if you somehow dodged all the regulatory bullets and all the mandates, you ended up with 6 cents on the dollar. So why bother? Just keep your powder dry and wait and see. In raw numbers, investment under FDR went from 16% of GDP in 1929 to less than 2%. So a fall of almost 90%. That's how you get to the kids without shoes while dad is hopping the train to the next soup kitchen. The great economist Bob Higgs coined a fantastic term to describe this, regime uncertainty. As in, business and entrepreneurs no longer know what the rules of the game will be tomorrow, next month, next year. They may not even know what they are today. Only an idiot hires new workers, who are an ongoing expense, or invests in new assembly lines, also a cost, if you have no idea if you'll be forced to fire them tomorrow or sell it for scrap. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained. Joe Biden is still a long ways from FDR, who H.L. Mencken dubbed a Führer peddling envy and hatred. Don't get me wrong, Joe Biden is certainly dumb enough to copy FDR, but we won't see the truly stupid ideas until we actually hit the recession. That's when you get the price controls, the top-down dictates, probably a universal basic income next time around to put another 5 million Americans on the couch permanently. In the meantime, the rule of thumb is the dumber the solutions, the closer we are to a depression. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.